Looking for the ultimate stocking stuffers for this holiday season? Look no further, because our sponsors, Manscaped.com, have the tools to make you win this year's stocking stuffer or white elephant competition. That's right. Manscaped.com is the only brand dedicated to below-the-waist grooming and hygiene products. And great news, they just released their products across Europe, Canada, and Australia. Good day, mate! Get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com with code HMT at checkout. Be the ballsiest gift giver this year with Manscaped. Horror Movie Talk, also brought to you by the 60s. Tired, angry, happy, sad, angry, sexy, sick, well, confused, jumpy, irrational, jumpy, pregnant? Have a hard liquor drink. It's the 60s. Go ahead. Why not smoke too?
Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk.
An opinionated and accidentally funny horror movie review show. Go, 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 go.
I just had to stroll through the scraggly woods.
He had no face!
Horror!
Sabrina, don't just stare at it, eat it.
New theatrical releases always get priority.
But we also review older horror movies, both good and horrible.
Wow, that didn't sound good.
Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk. Your panel of expert hosts each week are Dr. Bryce Hanson, who holds a PhD in spookology.
Hi.
And Professor David Day. That's me, the foremost expert in scare no-nos. Boy, do we have a great episode for you guys.
Very, very, very special guest today.
Yes, we do. This is my mother, Kathy Day. Say hi, Mom.
Hi.
She's
reluctant.
She's reluctant. She feels like you people are going to make relentless fun of her on the internet, although that's a vague concept to her. So we're you know.
I had to teach my mom what Google was yesterday.
Yesterday?
Yesterday.
Wow. What a year we live in.
I realized all the times that I've said, just Google it.
And she's just been like...
She's literally just been like, oh, why don't you just show me? Because it's like discovering someone is illiterate. It's like, why don't you just read it? Read the sign. They're like, oh, yeah, okay, well, I mean, why don't you just tell me what to do? I mean.
No, but my mom is graciously agreed to come on this show, despite not really wanting to, because she thinks I'm just going to make fun of her relentlessly. But really, the whole reason I invited her on here was to get her take on this movie.
Yes.
Which is the 1968, the original, obviously, Rosemary's Baby.
And my goal is to embarrass David as much as possible.
Oh, this is going to be...
So any information you can share
it's going to
be great.
Yeah, this is going to be a good episode. So we'll start out the episode by giving a brief review and our score for the movie.
You shouldn't oversell it.
Well, no. Okay, I'm sorry. I guess that's a good point. Sorry, Mom. We'll start out by giving a brief review and our score for the movie. We score on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a miserable dredge where it makes you angry that you had to watch it, 5 being an average enough film, and 10 being so good that it transcends genre boundaries. After we give our score, we'll get into spoilers and take a deeper dive into what we liked and hated about the film. Later, we will be doing Horror Movie Talk Whooores, which is a little segment that my mom probably needs introduction to, which is we have a voicemail line and then people call into it and they ask us questions or have opinions or stuff like that. And last night I put out a request that they ask you some questions. Ooh. So we'll see if anybody did that. When I checked, nobody had. They had just asked kind of general questions of the show. So no big, it's not a big worry. You look concerned.
Well, that's okay.
She's having second thoughts.
Yeah, are you having second thoughts right now?
No, just let's go ahead.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, like I said, we went ahead. Oh, I also have to issue a retraction. Actually, before I get into anything else, quick retraction here. This is more of a retraction for the Afterpod, which is a second podcast that we do that is available exclusively on our Patreon. If you'd like to get your hands on that podcast, you can do so by going to patreon.com/horrormovietalk. And then if you become a patron, you can unlock like over a year's worth of podcasts that we've been doing. Well, on our last Afterpod with Biggin, we discussed our mutual friend Mark and called him a cheapskate. And we said that he's been a fan of the show for a long time, but he never ponied up to support it, except for like with like vague shirts and stuff. Anyway, all that stuff, I got to retract it. I can't. I take all the things that I just said back because he ponied up and now he's a patron. So thank you, Mark. Also, could you pull up the list of current patrons that we can thank just very shortly here? So like I said, we all watched Rosemary's Baby. I watched it on IMDb through like the IMDb app on my Amazon stick. I think my mom did the same. Bryce, where did you watch it?
I watched it on Amazon. It was a IMDb TV, so it was free with ads.
Yeah, it gave me commercials.
I just said that. Yeah, it's which made an already pretty long movie much longer. I've forgotten what it's like to watch things with ads in it.
And my internet connection's so sketchy that every once in a while it would just stop for like a minute and a half.
Really?
So I'd have to wait through that.
Oh,
it was long. I was up till pretty late.
Oh, Mom! Wow, what a trooper for the show.
I was scared not to be prepared.
Well, I appreciate that. That's a good inclination. I can tell you're going to be a returning guest. So Rosemary's Baby is the story of Rosemary, a seriously delusional and paranoid woman who is impregnated and kept safe by her loving husband and caring neighbors. She gives birth to a totally normal baby and all is well. Actually, Rosemary's Baby is kind of the inverse of everything I just said. Rosemary, played by the beautiful Mia Farrow, and her husband Guy, played by John Cassavetes, move into a new apartment in New York City and are immediately greeted by their super nosy new neighbors, Minnie, played by Ruth Gordon, and Roman, played by Sidney Blackmer.
I think it's actually pronounced John Cassavetes, which is confusing because the character name is Cassavetes.
Right. Yeah, I was
unrelated to John Cassavetes.
Okay, good.
I wondered if they did all that on purpose.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird kind of thing going back and analyzing this movie because of Roman Polanski,
right? And
you kind of go, what were his intentions? There's so much of him that you kind of go, oh, I see what a weird pervert he is. Like,
actually, I on the trivia in Amazon, it said that it's really faithful to the book.
I gotta say, that was the best part of watching it, was like being able to like to watch this sidebar of info that was just constantly like, hey, did you know this? I was like, oh, I better write that.
I don't know how to get it to permanently stay there. Did you have to just mouse over it constantly too?
No. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I did.
So, small hints of things not being normal are dropped continuously throughout the movie, but the young couple decide to try and have a child. Their neighbors, the Cassavetes, offer a bit too much help for comfort, even in the friendly age of the 60s, with everything from advice to daily vitamin shakes for the newly pregnant Rosemary. Her entire life seems to become supplanted by offerings and suggestions made by the neighbors and enforced by Guy, her actor husband. Guy, her actor husband, has come into a bit of good luck as the understudy for a play, but it's because of the misfortune of the lead of the play. Obviously, I guess if you're an understudy, you're basically counting on someone else's misfortune in order to have your moment in the limelight. But it's kind of weird, kind of coincides really well. This. It's like, oh, we got pregnant, and suddenly I'm the lead of this play.
Yeah, this movie is all about gaslighting.
Yeah,
it's like 100% 100%.
Yeah.
If you want to learn about what gaslighting looks like, it's this movie.
Yeah, and as the gaslighting...
Unless you actually watch Gaslight
Oh.
Wait.
with Ingrid Bergman. No,
Yeah, I think-
40s.
Yeah, it's the term is based off of a play. Is that based off of the play, the movie? Yeah. That's where that term came from, is that there was a play where
I never saw a play. I just saw the movie.
I think it was the husband.
He wanted the jewels, and he married the woman, and then he proceeded to he turned down the gas. It was in like 1910 or something, and they turned down the gas at night, and she'd go, "Why are the lights turning down?" And he'd say, "The lights never turn down. What's wrong with you?" And he made her feel finally she was nuts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, this makes more sense. The only piece of Gaslight trivia that I have is that Bob Dylan played at a place called the Gaslight a lot. That's all I got.
Okay.
So anyway, as the gaslighting of Rosemary progresses, the audience knows that something is up, but it's hard to read too much malice into it until the very end. My review... you know what? Before we get into the review, let's thank our new patrons. Who do we have for new patrons this week?
So we got Leslie, Glenn D, Mark B, which you already mentioned, and Elizabeth V.
Thank you guys so much for supporting the podcast. We do produce this for free. You can, everybody can access and download this podcast for free. So every little bit of support we get helps us a lot. And so thank you very much for, putting your money where your mouth is. So my review of Rosemary's Baby is one of the most influential films of the 60s and is a masterpiece of storytelling and suspense. Direction and screenplay by Roman Polanski, it's just as horrific and perverted as him. If you don't know about Roman Polanski, he's a pedophile, I believe. And he's actually on the lam for the better part of his life, I think.
Still making movies.
Yeah, isn't it France who's allowing him to?
I mean,
live?
He's still making great movies. I mean, he made The Pianist. Well, that was a while ago, but
that was him.
That was him.
Holy shit, Adrian Brody.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that like he's one of him and Woody Allen are kind of.
Woody dodged that bullet.
Everyone everyone's career has been ruined that like had a date go wrong, but Woody Allen and Rosemary and Roman Polanski are like, no one wants to say anything about like they should never make a movie ever again.
Yeah,
like, well, it's Woody Allen and Roman Polanski. They get grandfathered into the Me Too movement somehow.
I'll say this, to me, Woody Allen gets a bit more of a pass than Roman Polanski. And I don't know why exactly. As I say that out loud, I'm like, I wonder why that is.
I think it's more of like
maybe it's because he's Jewish. I don't know.
No.
It's like
it's a much more ambiguous feeling thing.
It's white noise around Woody Allen by now.
Yeah.
To where it's like he
can't sell a movie though. Nobody will go.
No, I guess that. Well, that's not true. No, he had a very large movie, that Midnight in Paris or whatever it was.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Yeah, that was
he's still
7
making
or 8
movies.
years,
but he's also like in his 80s, I think now.
Yeah, he's ancient.
So yeah. Anyways, I think it's the controversy around him is not like crossed over into the conversation.
Well,
as much
he was
as you
married
imagine.
to Mia Farrow.
Yeah.
Such a
Woody
long
Allen
time.
was?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you didn't know
yeah.
that?
No, I guess I did because
it was their daughter that Sun Yi.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Previn. She was married to Andre Previn first, and before that, she was married to Frank Sinatra during this Rosemary's Baby time.
You know that Bloodhound Gang song where the lyric is "Every Sun Yi needs a little Woody."
Oh, jeez.
Huh? Yeah.
You're not a fan of the Bloodhound Gang?
Not a fan of Bloodhound Gang.
Yeah, and then also Ronan Farrow is the one that kind of brought a lot of stuff about Woody Allen to light And also is very involved in the Me Too movement.
Woody Allen is a butt of constant jokes from my uncle. My mom's brother never stops making Woody Allen jokes, but he really enjoys his movies too. I mean, it's a weird thing, where you're like,
oh, he always liked that.
Yeah, I mean,
he always liked Woody
who doesn't?
Allen films.
I mean, Sleeper, that's great. So anyway, everything about this film is wonderful, but the casting, acting, and story is really what makes this movie shine. It's not full of the most artistic shots, and it's about as slow as they come, especially for today. Perhaps the real triumph here is the effort that goes into stringing the viewer along. There are tons of little clues and nudges that we receive as we make our way through this sometimes innocent, sometimes diabolical journey that poor Rosemary is forced to endure. It's always interesting to see movies that tap into our most innate fears, and what could be a more natural minefield for worry than a mother's journey through pregnancy. Rosemary's Baby takes the little flap of cuticle and peels it all the way up to the elbow.
Yeah.
It was clearly the inspiration for many movies and movie makers since. While watching this, I kept drawing parallels with one of my very favorite films, Hereditary, and then a lot of M. Night Shyamalan movies as well. Watching this movie is like scaling Mount Everest. It's a slow and dangerous journey, but the view from the top is second to none. I give this a 10 out of 10. What did you think, Bryce?
Yeah, this is one of my favorites. It's a 10 out of 10 for me. It's such a slow burn, and the feeling of something's not right.
Right.
And you kind of know what's going on, but also you don't completely know. I think pretty soon there's not really
there's no question.
Right. But just seeing the dread of like all these things happen to her and people just not listening to her or being concerned with her being in, terrible pain and
she looks so sick.
Yeah.
How people couldn't pick up on that or
do
something about
the first
it.
trimester.
But they wouldn't let her see any of her regular friends.
Right. I mean, that haircut.
Well, and that was real fashionable.
And they kept gaslighting her about her own fashion. They're like, "Sweetie, come." Oh, it's like, you're in a place to disparage Mia Farrow. Get out of here.
I know Ruth Gordon and her hats.
But you've touched on something. I would like to add, it's got this strange sort of quaint, like it's very similar to The Wicker Man in the vibe, in this like weird innocent vibe. Maybe it's the time that it was done, the 60s, late 60s, just 6 years before The Wicker Man. And, I don't know, it feels kind of light and breezy for a lot of the movie. It doesn't feel like heavily torturous or anything like that. And then the end is just this descent into the ultimate depravity. It's like, ugh. And
the thing that sticks with me is just the realism of being gaslit, of having people that seem very, very nice that are trying to control you very obviously through passive aggressive language.
But the neighbors weren't. They were always pleasant, but her husband got nasty.
Well, he was the enforcer, right?
Yeah.
They were like the suggesters who were really his enforcer.
Yeah.
But he had to be the guy who like kept her really actually in line. And you know what? Dudes are bad at that. I mean, it's they just get frustrated too fast. It's like
impatient.
Just do the thing, just fucking do it. And I got strong my dad vibes from him, where he's like, look, I know I'm not the best. I know I'm really self-centered, but just.
I think, well, we'll get into the spoilers, some of the specific points.
What did you think of the movie, Mom?
Well, it was your classic sell your soul to the devil movie story.
And you saw this in theaters, maybe not as it was released.
No, because I was I was probably not interested or something, or I didn't have enough money to go to the movies when I was in high school,
Sure.
And so, and I was interested in other stuff. But in college, I think I saw it in college, and they used to have older movies, and they'd show them at the student union for 50 cents, and everybody went on Friday night because of a 50-cent movie. And that's when I saw it. I mean, I must have been, visiting and goofing off because I missed some of these details, like that closet. I really didn't get what the deal was with the closet.
Yeah, I mean, the closet got my attention. I've watched so many movies now in like a critical mindset.
Yes.
That you get this formula down.
Right. And you recognize,
Yeah.
you go, wow, there's something weird about the closet. They put a secretary in the back of the closet, and then they pulled it out, and I was expecting a door, but there wasn't a door.
Right.
Was there?
Well, I mean, yes, there was.
there was a
Eventually, we learned that there's a door there, but anyway, yeah. So,
and also that they took his Hutch's glove and the actor's tie. I didn't even realize he'd traded the actor's tie.
it's a full of these little breadcrumbs that they drop the whole way through, and it's like
that voodoo stuff.
Yeah, that's the mark of a really skilled filmmaker is somebody who everything in every little thing matters. Every little piece is not extraneous. It goes to the story. So, real quick, Mom, you're not much of a horror fan, are you?
No.
Just generally speaking.
No.
And so. Why is that?
Because they're negative and icky. And I'm over 60, and who needs to see all that decay and negative and downer stuff? I don't need it.
Why do you suppose I like it so much?
I have no idea, because you stayed you were so scared of stuff when and I used to say, look, you don't have to watch it and put it in your brain, but you just would.
Yeah, I had to.
I mean, you slept with the light on till you were like 7 years old because of Skeletor.
Yay!
I sure did. And man, I would piss my pants in bed just so that I didn't have to go to the bathroom and risk.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Because Skeletor was going to get you?
Skeletor, and then Skeletor became Freddy. Actually, when we moved here to Washington, we had that big satellite dish. And it got a bunch of channels, just like it just did. And I'd wake up early in the morning, and just because little kids just wake up, and I go to the TV, and I just like flip through the channels. And one day I caught a piece of one of the Nightmare on Elm Streets.
Oh dear!
And then also a film called Frankenhooker. Frankenhooker messed me up, but it also like intrigued me to the extent of like, I gotta see what the hell all this stuff is about. There's so much in
that. I would have had none of that.
No,
he was 5.
You never would have allowed it. And Frank and I turned it off so quick. I was like, but something inside me was like, what was that all about?
That's where what all went wrong. That was the turning point with David.
Yeah, you just couldn't control when I woke up.
Couldn't control lots of things.
So, what score would you give this movie, Mom? Out of 10.
Well, as a pretty well done movie, I'd give it a 8 or a 9. I go along with you guys. It's a good movie. It's depressing to me. At first, it's fun, and then it's depressing because at the end there's no hope. They suck her in, and she goes ahead and.
Well, she's got a baby now,
though. The pull of motherhood. The pull of motherhood is so strong that she just goes, okay. And she just forgets about the bad stuff. And I'm just like, and they go, you don't have to join. You don't have to join. Just be a mom. Yeah. It's like so awful.
Yeah. Does this play on a lot of, do you recall, I mean, at this point, it's been, 36 years since you had me. what do you recall of pregnancy and how this plays on the fears of pregnancy?
Well, when I first...
You know what? Actually, let's transition into spoilers and then I'll ask you that question again. Let's go to... no. First, let's go into our mid-roll. So, like I said at the start of the show, if you guys would go ahead and support Manscaped.com and buy some of their products, that would sure help us out. I'm going to organize a contest around the Lawnmower 3.0 here shortly. So you guys, you know what to do, and you can't enter the contest without one. So I'm just saying, consider supporting the people who support the show. A few of Manscaped.com's products that are prime stocking stuffers this season are the Crop Preserver. This is just their basic ball deodorant. The name kind of speaks for itself. It's just got a nice scent, and it doesn't let your boys get all gnarly down there. And frankly, that's a real risk. Hey, she's giving me the speed it up sign. She's like, can we be done with this? Also, they have the Crop Reviver, which is ball toner. Did you get this for Dad? This is a spray-on toner that will give your balls a little slice of heaven with their aloe vera and hazel extracts. I have sensitive skin. I've said this before. And this stuff does not upset my rashes, my variety of rashes. Of course, they got the Foot Duster, which is a foot deodorant designed to keep the stankiest feet smelling fresh. And they got the Weed Whacker. The Weed Whacker is my new favorite, man, because that's their nose and ear hair trimmer. And it has the proprietary skin-safe technology, and it gets rid of those nasty nose and ear hairs. And, man, something happened like 3 or 4 years ago. I was telling Bryce this a couple episodes, where, suddenly I have these, tree stumps growing out of my nose and my ears. Does Dad have a problem with this?
I don't know.
You don't look at his ears and nose and be like, ugh.
No.
Wow, he's keeping it real. I don't think he's keeping it reined in. So he just must not have very many whiskers growing out his ears.
Well, I'm not going to talk about that.
All right.
We don't talk about those things, David. This is
not
finally, polite conversation.
Yeah, so if you guys enter HMT at checkout at manscaped.com, you get 20% off and free shipping on your entire order. So whether this is for your partner, dad, brother, friend, get them something that they will actually use, and it's almost sure to get a laugh, because who doesn't love to receive ball toner spray? Also, if you'd like to support the show directly, you can do so, like I said, by going to patreon.com/horrormovietalk and ponying up. We have a whole bunch of exclusive content and stuff for you to interact with us on there through. Also, you guys, I don't know if anybody realizes this, but we have a bunch of Horror Movie Talk shirts and stickers available on our website if you go to horrormovietalk.com/shop. And so you can rep our brand. And frankly, we have a pretty fucking cool logo made by Dustin Goebel, our resident artist, who is a professional artist who fucks hard. He also takes commissions for artwork from HMT fans. Contact him at dgoebel00, that's at DGOEBEL00 on Instagram, and make your artistic dreams come true. Finally, if you guys would like to call into the show, you can do so by calling 682-253-4468. You just leave a quick little voicemail on there, and you can possibly get onto the show on one of our segments. So with that, thanks again, and let's get into spoilers. Spoilers. So how does it, my mom has a strong disappointment face on right now.
This is what we do.
People pay us to do and say these things.
I was reading your list.
Oh, how did you feel about those ads?
I hope you sell it.
Oh, that's so supportive. I was thinking to myself,
Mom?
if my mom was here how much adjustments I'd have to make.
Oh, really?
For the language of our reads.
Well,
I don't feel like I've ever
Check out our resident artist, Dustin Goebel, who is a very nice young man.
who has sexual intercourse.
all right. You went past that. Now we're past spoilers.
Let's not dwell. All right.
So anyway, so there's this weird la 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 intro to this that this is a movie that was done before. So when what is it called, the Film Actors Guild or something like that, Directors Guild. I think it's the Directors Guild that you'd be kicked out of if you didn't put the credits at the start. You know, didn't have like this firm, long credit thing. And so up until like the 80s or the 90s, people were real worried about getting kicked out of, I think it's like, don't quote me on this. I didn't do any research about this, but I do know.
Actors Guild?
It's not the Screen Actors Guild. I think it's the Directors Guild or something.
Yeah, there's directors and there's a guild for everything.
Yeah. And so people were like, real worried about. Anyway, so this has one of those long, winding intros with. Actually, I think it's Mia Farrow's voice going.
Yeah,
la, la,
it
la,
is.
la.
Yeah, was this before or after Breakfast at Tiffany's? Do you remember? After Breakfast at Tiffany's did a similar thing where
Is that Audrey Hepburn?
Audrey Hepburn sung the theme song to it. So it was a whole thing.
Actually, before we get into spoilers, I want to ask the question that I asked. I don't want to forget. How does this movie tap into that innate like pregnancy fear?
Well, when I ever first saw it in college, I didn't care.
Right.
But then now, after I had children, I went, this is just awful.
Yeah. Actually, that's a subject that we bring up a lot, which is like this weird like line in the sand between not having kids and then having kids, and how that really changes your perception on a lot of things, specifically in movies, where you're like, I don't have any feeling about this at all. Who cares? And then suddenly you're like, strong, visceral feelings. And it's like,
I think my mom saw this after she was pregnant.
I find it hard to believe that your mom saw this at all. This
is like the one horror movie that if I ask her about horror movies, she'll be like, oh, I saw Rosemary's Baby.
I'd like to meet your mom.
Oh, yeah, you would.
We'll have you guys back for Mother's Day episode. We'll watch The Omen.
I don't know.
Ooh.
You probably have a lot in common with the Omen, raising the monster like David. Oh.
He was a good little boy.
I was a good little boy. Don't make her sad about her horrible child.
But she points out to just the innate fear and uneasiness of being pregnant.
Am I pregnant?
I hope you got all of them.
I did. Yeah.
Am I pregnant or am I okay?
And it's interesting looking through that lens of, and if you've experienced a pregnancy with your wife, realizing that everyone has their opinions about everything.
Oh, yeah.
So, so your friends and family, they'll be like, they'll tell you what vitamins to take. They'll tell you like, oh, well, you should be doing this, or, oh, don't do that at this point in the pregnancy, or like, you're not going to do this, are you?
Yeah.
Like,
and they come at you with such like strong, like judge eyes,
yeah. And then there's all these books, and then your OBGYN is like, well, everything's fine, even though something's not fine. And they're like, oh, it's because they've seen everything.
Yeah.
And, it's just like, well, this is what it's like for you. Wait, what?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that in this movie. That's like basically what the whole movie is about, is like preying on those fears of very friendly people trying to be passive aggressive and make you do things their way.
Yeah.
And then everything around the doctors is
Yeah, that was all really odd.
Yeah. Because the doctor's like, don't read.
Yeah.
Don't ask questions because I'm the professional and everything's fine.
I'm taking the wheel now, baby.
It's completely normal.
I don't know how she just went, okay.
You might want to get a little closer to the mic there.
I don't understand how she could just be okay with all that. And where was her mother?
Yeah, where was
That
her?
is a
Why
good
didn't
question.
she call up her mom, for Pete's sake?
What is the best time to sex to become pregnant?
Yeah, so the movie starts out with them seeing, they're being shown a new apartment, and it's in New York City, the guy showing them the apartment is kind of like he's selling it to him, and he's like, the last lady who lived here, she died, not in this place, in the hospital. Well, it was a good way to go.
Mia Farrow says, did she die in the apartment? Not that that's a big deal.
Yeah. And he's like, no, nothing like that.
That guy was an old actor, and I originally remember seeing him in the Maltese Falcon. He was Wilmer.
Damn. I've never seen the Maltese Falcon, but
you should.
But an old friend of mine thought it was just the best, and that was in high school. So anyway, I guess I.
So that guy that showed them the apartment he was young then.
My question is, how is it even an option for them to look at that apartment?
How do you mean?
They never even address it. This giant,
he's out of work.
This giant cavernous apartment in New York City. I mean, I know it's the 60s,
maybe it was different. Yeah, I don't know.
But I mean, that's like a mansion in New York City.
It really was. Yeah, it was a whole half a floor.
And he was out of work, and she
was a
housemaker.
Yeah.
And that's, it's like when you see Friends, and you're like, oh yeah, all these 20-something people with no discernible jobs, or they're like waiters,
coffee,
and they can own like basically an entire floor between them.
Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, you gotta have some willing suspension of disbelief.
Mm-hmm. Am I pargant?
So anyway, they decide that at the important part in this we've already addressed, which is there's like this hutch in front of a door in this apartment, and he's like, no, we should take a look behind that. What's in there? And it turns out to just be this just totally unassuming closet that's got a hutch in front of it. And,
it's got like a vacuum cleaner inside the closet,
some towels, and
so
stuff
is the
that you would normally use.
that Minnie and all her friends killed the lady before?
I'm not exactly sure what the implication is, other than it was known that there was a door. But okay, so
because the lady blocked it off. Obviously.
So actually, no. If you recall, one of the first things that the guy showing the apartment says to them is, "This apartment used to be the whole floor. We altered it to be a split two apartments, and so it makes sense that there would be a door between the two, and it's just them rediscovering that door for all we know. It's just basically them showing the fact that
you know what it was. Oh man, what was the note that she found on the floor? Wasn't there like something tipping off where she was like she wanted to get out? So I'm pretty sure that whoever the previous tenant was involved somehow. She had like the herb garden in her house, but there was something to tip off that like she wanted out, or there was something she was like,
I want to get out.
Tipped off to something.
Keep dragging me back.
Something wrong. I can't remember.
Well, there was something that would make sense because she had a little interior garden, and she grew a bunch of roots and a bunch of herbs.
Tannis root.
So they get the apartment, they move in, and then it starts this kind of boy, I don't know how to say it with my mom here, but there's a little bit of sexual intercourse going on, and it's real kind of like it's.
Well, you spelled it out here in capital letters.
What did I write?
S-E.
No, what did it before that? The whole line. More sex. Yeah. So anyway, they Mia Farrow looks at Gus. Guy. She looks at Guy and she's like, "Hey, you want to just do it?" They're in the middle of this empty apartment that they have yet to like truly move into, and so there's some tasteful sex scenes in this. And then she runs into the smack addict downstairs in the basement.
What was her name?
I don't know.
Oh.
But it's so weird because she's like the most wholesome.
But she was
heroine
recovered.
Well,
but she was living with Minnie and Roman.
Yeah, so she's doing her laundry downstairs. She runs into this sweet young girl.
Is it Terry? I think that's.
I don't have it written down, but it may be in the back.
And she says, "Oh, they're such nice people, and they've taken me in,
Yeah.
and everything's good."
Yeah, I was living on the street doing things to survive.
Yeah, but it's a very like in this is part of that whole.
Yeah, it's innocuous.
Yeah, this is part of that whole like kind of innocent, upbeat kind of like vibe. Because if this was made today, it'd be like track marks on her arms. I had a real hard life before I met,
There's actually a mini series done a couple years ago with what's her name? Anyways, it's very different. It was set in Paris, and it starts out with the girl that committed suicide, and it shows her in like the exact same situation as Rosemary, which is like she has a husband and she's pregnant and she figures out whatever, and then she commits suicide. And this in the miniseries happens all before Rosemary and her husband move in. So yeah, it's like, yeah, different ways to treat it. This one definitely went the low-key route.
Why did Terry jump off the roof?
So here we go. So the important part about Terry is that they're downstairs, they're talking, they're like, oh, it's a spooky basement. We should be friends and come down here more often. This is what I imagine relationships are like for girls, because it's not this way for guys, where two girls get together, they go, you're a girl, I like the cut of your jib, let's be friends. And then they say the words like, let's be friends, and then they're friends. Which for guys, it's like, sup? Hey. And then you run into each other a few more times, and you're like, that guy's my bud. Anyway. So as they become friends very quickly downstairs, she's like, hey, look, I got this charm. And she's like, oh, it's stinky. And like, oh, okay. So it sets up the premise of this charm. So then, like a few scenes later, she's dead on the pavement. She's jumped out of this apartment and she's dead. And when they pick up the sheet to show her to the neighbors who were housing her,
to IDing her,
to ID her, which is a very unprofessional way to get someone to ID like a crime scene. But anyway, they pick up the sheet and there's the pendant. On her. And so it sets up the idea of like, this pendant marks people for being manipulated. And it probably has some sort of actual, satanic significance in this weird little cult, because later on they offer this pendant to Mia, to Rosemary. They're like, hey, look, I got this pendant. And it's not really...
Then her husband says, well, if you took it, you ought to wear it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty soon after their first dinner. Yeah, because it kind of suspends my disbelief when you're like, oh, yeah, here's this thing to wear around your neck right underneath your nose. It kind of smells like shit, but it's great.
Yeah.
You'll love it.
You'll love it. It'll be... And
then everyone's fine with it. Like, oh, yeah, I enjoyed smelling like garbage.
Yeah, and everybody comments on it, too. They're like,
wow, it smells real bad.
What does that smell? Dude, my experience with women is, if you make one minor insinuation that something smells funny in the room, they're like, it's not me. I didn't. Certainly you're not referring to me. And if you're like, do you smell? They're like, oh, I never.
Yeah. And so like it starts out like realistically where she's like, oh, that's so nice. And she's like, puts it in the deepest, darkest section of her jewelry cabinet.
Carrie holds her farts in all day long. All day. Do you do that?
I don't know.
Oh my God, you do. How doesn't that hurt?
I don't know. I don't want to talk about this.
I will neither confirm nor deny the pain I feel every day.
It depends where you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you held it in even around us kids, man. Like it was so, one time I remember being like 7 or 8.
Stop it. Don't talk about that.
I'm sorry.
Go on. Go down the list.
Okay.
Bryce.
Hang on.
Smarten up there,
David,
Bryce.
you are being rude.
Am I pregnant or am I okay?
You're okay. So anyway, so we continue down this road, and these neighbors are so nosy. They're constantly barging into the room. Like, they're constantly...
Was that after the dinner or before the dinner? Because that's when Guy just got with them and right away.
Yeah, so they invite him over to dinner, and you know, actually, it's kind of interesting because it's Rosemary who gets the invite, and then she has to convince Guy. She's like, you know,
he's going, they're old. Why do we want to?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they had dinner plans with like friends of theirs.
But this sets up the idea that Guy isn't in it from the start.
Right?
No, he's not. But after like it's really interesting. The descent of like Guy trying to manipulate her starts out really subtle because in the beginning they have the dinner and then he's like, wow, that guy's a really interesting person. I'd love to talk to him again. And then when he comes back later and she mentions this charm, you know, he's pretty subtle about it of like, well, she gave it, you better wear it.
Yeah.
Which that's kind of a thing that a husband would say of like, I mean, we live on the same floor. She's going to see you. You should probably
wear it once or twice. Yeah.
You know, don't just like throw it away kind of thing. And it was also said in kind of a joking manner of like, well, you know, you made your bed by accepting it.
Now sleep with poop around your neck.
Yeah. And then it descends to like, you know, eat it.
Oh, you know what you didn't put in here?
What's that?
Is her eating the raw meat.
Oh, yeah.
That's later on.
Oh,
yeah,
there it is.
It's quite a ways away. So anyway, so these neighbors are super nosy. They go and have dinner with them, and suddenly Guy's interest is piqued, and now Mia or Rosemary has the necklace. And so this is the start.
And he must have said it right then. He must, Roman must have told him, like, because they were over on the couch and he's like listening real hard, and he must have said, I can get you what you want if you just do this. It was instant.
Yeah.
It was instant. Because that night, it's like, oh, he's really
I mean, they were
interesting.
super supportive. Like, because
and pushy about babies too. Like they're like, you pregnant yet? You gonna have kids or?
Yeah, Mr. Castevet was like super supportive of Guy's career of like saying, oh, I saw you and I noticed how good you were and you did a
in
thing.
that commercial.
Yeah.
And you could just see Guy's ego like being like having a bike pump, like
Blossoming.
Yeah.
he's like, yes, I want more of someone telling me I'm good and believing in me.
Yeah. So this kind of sets up this premise. This is going to be a continuing premise throughout the movie, just so that we don't have to continue constantly talking about it, which is these neighbors are going to, throughout the movie, be giving food, little tinctures, vitamin drinks, all kinds of stuff that taste funny and aren't the best for taste or for your stomach or for your health. But
Yeah,
she accepts
or for
them.
your soul.
Yeah, or for your soul.
Mrs. Castevet's is like the most interesting character in this movie, just in terms of just being a real strong character. And I read in the trivia, originally the accent was supposed to be Midwest, which would have been another level of just like, I'm just a friendly neighbor.
Here you go, dear.
Here you go. Oh, I got a nice root.
Got some of these pagan roots for you, dear.
But Ruth Gordon was just so New York.
Yeah, she was so great, and it's such a good portrayal of someone that's super passive aggressive and very insistent and very like nosy.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know someone
But
like
she
that.
totally seemed benign.
Yeah.
To me, she was offhand, and she said, if you don't want to have it now, you can have it later. No big deal.
I almost always, and I can see these like supremely passive aggressive people from a mile away.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I just I didn't nothing to do with them.
I was disturbed at how much Mrs. Castavets reminded me of someone I know.
Oh yeah,
Like,
you want to name names?
No, I'll just say her name is Jay Gamble. No, that's too obvious. We'll say Joyce G.
Oh.
Yeah, my mother-in-law is like really kind of that way where it's her opinions are expressed through very sing-songy like suggestions, or observations.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, we know.
None of my business, dear, whether or not you live or die. I don't care, whatever. It's like, okay.
Oh, you're doing it. Oh, I bet you guys are going to do this and this. No? Oh.
Yeah. Or like
Is there a possibility that I'm peg rent?
The understudy didn't go blind. The real actor went blind.
yes, my apologies. These are just quick notes, but
The leading man.
So yes, the guy is the understudy for a big play, and then suddenly, once all this Tannis root gets introduced to Mia's diet, guy gets a call, and oh hey, you know what? The leading actor in that play you're in, he went blind. Bad news for him, but good news for you. So you're gonna be in the play, and he's like, he's got this strong energy of like, oh boy, like.
He goes, well, I'm sort of sorry about that guy. It's not too good to get a part that way, but there you go, honey.
Yeah, and so they have sex a few more times, and as she...
I don't even remember that.
Well, they do. As she eats this stuff, she has a dream. After she eats this stuff, she has this weird, horrible dream where she's like has her legs tied and she has
on that boat,
monster sex, and they're on a boat, and it's just all very symbolic.
Yeah, I mean, they decide to have a baby, and she's super enthusiastic, and then the night where she's going to be fertile, they have like a nice dinner, and then Mrs. Castavets brings him over some mouse.
Yeah,
some chocolate mousse for them to eat, and it's like, hey,
tastes funny.
Tastes funny.
Yeah, it's got a funny undertaste.
And guy is like, eat it.
Yeah,
eat it though. I mean, you better eat all of it.
I'd have made him trade it. I would have made him trade it.
Yeah.
No, you eat this one if you think it's so great. Let me have yours.
Yeah.
So she eats some of it, and then
he's like, "Oh, my uterus!"
He eats some of it, and then all of a sudden she's like fainting.
Yeah.
And so I mean, she only had like maybe a fourth of it, so I can imagine how out of it she would be if she ate the whole thing.
Yeah, she didn't get enough to get a super Satan in there.
Yeah.
Am I pregnant? Help!
So yeah, and then she passes out, and then she dreams of basically being raped by monsters.
Yeah, a monster.
Well, she's supposed to be out because Ruth Gordon says,
Right.
oh, she ate the mouse, and she's not going to remember anything.
Right.
She doesn't know what's going on. And then she goes, oh, my gosh, this is really happening.
Right.
She wakes up.
Could I be pregonate?
Wait,
can oo bleed while oo are pergert?
Can oo bleed while oo are pergert?
Okay.
Pergert? What's offensive about that? Can oo bleed while oo are pergert? So yeah, this is really, I think, the moment where she becomes maybe.
Am I pargant?
Pargant. And
Pregat.
So she wakes up with scratches all over her, and she's like, hey, guy, what is going on here? And he's like, yeah, it was kind of fun in a necrophilic kind of way. And she's like, oh, wait, you had sex with me? You kind of like raped me? And he's like, we're married.
Right.
I can't rape you. You're married to me. And it's a very throwaway sort of.
Right. Yeah, it's
dismisses it.
It's very weird because he's like, yeah, well, it was time to do it, and she's like, she's being very reasonable. It's like,
could have waited until
doesn't have to be that second. Like, we could do it this morning. It's like, well, I was pretty drunk too.
And she was like,
danger ops, prangent sex. Will it hurt baby top of his head?
drops.
I don't know if any of those drops are funny to anyone without the context of the video.
Yeah, so I should give context to these drops. There's a video where a man narrates a bunch of Yahoo questions about pregnancy, and he just chooses the ones that are completely misspelled. And so he narrates all these questions that have been asked to Yahoo questions. And
it's amazing how people can't spell.
Well, it's the meta narrative is that there's a lot of dumb people that should not be pregnant and have lots of questions about it.
They should be considering
How long can Ugo being pregnant to get an abortion?
they should be considering an abortion.
Well, that's the idiocracy thing.
Yeah, boy, yeah, amen to that. So yeah, there's a weird thing with Mia Farrow. She has that. I can't tell if she's just a very small individual or if she has that like little girl vibe. You know, she's got that really. She's got that affect in her voice. That's like, I'm just, it's like sprightly and kind of.
Yeah, I mean, it's a...
Well, she is really little.
Is she?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's little. And,
yeah.
But I think that was for the part, I mean, all that little girl stuff was for this part.
Real breathy and...
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's a similar thing between this and The Wicker Man is that there's kind of a baseline understanding of maybe not necessarily the reality, but the impulses of the culture at the time was very conservative. So for The Wicker Man, it's like, you have to have an understanding of the normal religious, impulses of people of like, no, this is very important to be Christian and have like, these things be sacred and not to do the sex. And then for this, kind of more of a conservative impulse for, traditional, traditional roles of the sexes within a marriage, having a homemaker and then having the man that, is the leader of the house, I guess. And so it's kind of playing into that. And, I'm sure they're commenting on it at the time. It's not assumed, but there's a little bit of that, just the power dynamic between the provider and the woman that's being the housemaker and they're to
have babies. Yeah. There's also like this strong kind of Nietzschean vibe of like God is dead. Like there's a lot of there's like a Time magazine, the cover says, "Is God dead?" And then a lot of references to, obviously witchcraft, paganism, and the question of like morality and its relevance, I guess.
Right. Like, why should you care about the Pope? He's just
Right. And at the start, actually, Guy cares a lot. He's like, wow, the Pope is on TV on this baseball game. Wow. Like, this is crazy. And he's impressed by it. But, boy, he changes his tune. Like 180 degrees. So anyway, let's see here. At this point, she's preggo, and the first trimester is rough. And they've influenced her. They've kind of like they've kind of like subbed in their own doctor. They've kind of worked their way into her whole life. They're like, here's the drink, you got to drink it. Here's this doctor, you got to go see him. And the doctor like sets it up too. He's like, you're going to feel bad for the first trimester. Yeah. It is not fun. By the way, for you ladies who haven't had pregnancies yet, that's a strong possibility. Like my wife had a terrible first trimester for both kids. How was it that way for you?
No,
you had an okay time.
Yeah. I didn't feel bad. Did
you have like what are they called? Those urges to eat different kinds of interesting foods?
Oh, cravings?
Yeah.
No, I really didn't.
Nothing changed for you, really.
I did feel sick with the second time, and all I wanted for a long time was just ginger ale.
That was Garrett. Tell me about it. He's a real troublemaker. Not a good guy, generally speaking.
But it was, I never barfed.
You never barfed?
No.
Not once?
No.
Wow. Carrie was laid out.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
poor Carrie.
laid out. And actually, my brother's wife doesn't. She was kind of tired.
Yeah, I was real tired both times.
Yeah, she was real tired, but it didn't. And I think she had some small issues, but yeah, it can vary dramatically. Like there is no right way, and that's kind of what her first doctor says. He's like you said, he's like,
Yeah.
Don't read anything, don't listen to anyone. Like, it's all normal. Whatever's going to happen to you, it's just unavoidable. Kind
Right.
of.
Yeah, like just call me anytime. What doctor says that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you shouldn't trust doctors that are available. Something's up. Yeah, that whole interchange between the doctor and her, especially the first one, where it's like, yeah, don't read. Like, you should also not trust people that tell you not to read. But he basically says, like, don't listen to anyone but me, because I'll tell you that everything's fine. And every pregnancy is different.
Oh, but remember when she first came back and said, I'm pregnant, and the cast of vets go, oh boy, and everybody drank.
Yeah.
Everybody,
And
everybody smoked cigarettes all the time.
Yeah, they're like,
it was really,
blowing cigarette smoke in her face. They're like,
modern times.
Congratulations. Yeah, and she's like, when can I
Pin ooh down a 20-foot water slide Pegnat?
When can I go down a water slide? Can I go down at Pegnat? Yeah, and so she feels real terrible the first trimester. She gets all these weird cravings for like raw steak. Like she takes this steak, flips it twice on this skillet,
Gives it like a good solid 2 Mississippi for each side.
and then she just cuts right into this raw steak. She eats raw chicken liver
with her hands.
With her hands.
The trivia on this,
I know.
Holy cow! So
She really did that.
Mia Farrow was vegan at the time.
Ugh.
And she
No
still
wonder she was
ate
throwing up.
that liver for the movie, which is crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Can I get bringed if he had a condom on?
Can I get branked while he had a condom on? Condom. So yeah, this first trimester, rough and weird, and she's like, who feels like eating? Did you ever feel like eating raw chicken liver? Were you ever like?
Never in my life.
Never. Not even when I.
No, not even with you, David.
Oh. And she looks rough, and then she gets a hold of her friend Hutch, and she's like, "Hey, there's all this weird stuff's going on." And
well, he sees her and he says, "You look terrible."
Right.
Yeah.
And she's already given up her other doctor, a real doctor.
That's right.
I love how freely everyone tells her how terrible she looks. She's like one of the most beautiful people, and they're just like, "Whoa, you look awful."
Well, she did look awful by then. They painted her up all
Right.
white with dark circles around her eyes, and her hair was bad.
Yeah.
But even then, you would give it like, you'd be like, "Huh," and then you'd give it like
Are you feeling
like
good?
a 30 minutes thing,
You'd say-
and you'd be like, "So
You feeling okay?
is pregnancy wiping you out? Like, is you exhausted?" Like, you wouldn't just be like, "You look very bad."
Yeah, a lot of Dr. Nick from The Simpsons observations. Whoa, you need boobs. And then he tosses her some change. Let me think. Oh, I had a thought. Oh yeah, they're like, and also like you said, Mom, they're like, "You're drinking for two now." Like, drink
Well,
up.
people didn't think about it back then until it was like 1980 before people really went, "Whoa!"
Did you drink with me?
No.
A little.
I remember a friend of mine when she was pregnant. She had we got together for lunch, several of us, and we had a glass of wine, and we said, "Oh, gee, should you?" And she goes, "Oh, it's okay."
Yeah.
One little thing of wine.
Yeah. I mean,
it was becoming not the thing, and that was like the late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like weird, like very strong rules that come into play that are maybe not completely necessary. Like You can't have one drink, one little one.
I think they know a pretty specific time frame in which it actually is
harmful,
impactful. And I think there is like a time where, like, if you have a drink at the wrong time, it could affect things.
Yeah.
But mostly it's if you're drinking all the time.
So,
but it just looks funny now.
Yeah.
It just looks funny now.
It's like if you drive around with your kid not in a car seat when they're, 8 or 9. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean,
they're 100 pounds. Can you lay off? It's like, yeah.
Well, poor Hutch comes, and then
they
know she's got a visitor, and they pop right over.
Yeah, and they're like,
hi. Yeah, I like to talk to your friend, and they find out about her meeting him in front of the Time Life building the next day, exactly what time. Yeah, and then he doesn't show up.
Yeah, and he doesn't show up. He doesn't show up because
he's had a stroke.
He's gone into a coma. Yeah, and Minnie shows up in place of him, and she's like, "Oh, what a coincidence! Yeah. I'm here where you are." It's like, yeah, what a coincidence that is. And so now they've clearly kind of it's insinuated that Hutch has been offed by them, by this set of influencers.
And it just doesn't look the cause doesn't look direct because he doesn't just die. He just kind of drifts along for a long time until finally dies. Well, that might have happened anyway because he was in a coma.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the same thing with the previous tenant. Like, she was in a coma and then eventually died too. And so it's kind of set up. And then they, Guy is obviously involved because after she gets off the phone, he's like, oh, what, he wants to meet with you? Where? What time? So it's like, okay. So then they have a party. They have a party and it has a bartender and she's drinking and everybody's having a good time.
It's her old friends from before.
Yeah, it's all of her old friends and she gets into a spell and all of her girlfriends surround her and they're like, "Sweetie, are you okay? You need to go see a doctor and get a second opinion and yada yada." And
not Abraham Saperstein.
Right. And then it kind of at the end of the party, when she has an argument with her husband about going to see this other doctor, and right in the middle of this argument, basically the first trimester ends and her pain and her discomfort
goes away.
Magically go away at this exact moment. Yeah. It's like, you've crossed over into the second trimester. And so no, there's no reason. Everything's fine. And then the next 2 trimesters go by like a breeze. It's basically a.
When does he say to her, "Things are going to be so great, honey"? What I can't remember what he says. Oh, things are going to be so great. With his career and stuff.
Yeah.
I can't remember when that was.
I think that's pretty early on because he tips his hat of
like. When she feels bad. When she's
sick. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing where
I sold my soul and it's going to be great now.
Yeah. She's talked about how she hasn't drunk the vitamin drink for a couple days and she's
hiding those pills in the bricks.
She's like, she's over it. And then he gets really mad at her for not taking a vitamin drink, which is like sus. And then, she turns the corner and she's like, "Oh, I don't feel the pain anymore at all. And I feel the baby moving." At which point it's like, "Oh, well, everything's fine. Let's just keep doing the normal thing." So it's almost like her whole mentality was worrying about the baby and whether she was going to be able to keep it. And then once the reassurance that the baby was alive and well, she's like, "Okay, well, I guess it isn't so bad. I guess the doctor knows what he's talking about." Yeah.
Yeah. Things had almost gone off the rails for the
decided to take a stroll through the
Sorry. Accidentally.
Things had almost gone off the rails for the cult, and she had almost decided, this was the moment where things almost went good, but then Satan took the wheel. So anyway, the next 2 trimesters go by in a breeze, and we're basically at the end of her pregnancy now. At this point, Hutch dies, and she realizes, oh, I hadn't even reached out to see how he was this whole time. But fortunately, he had left her a clue. In a book called All of Them Witches.
Which is what she would have gotten if she'd have met him that morning and she'd have been filled in. But then it just drifted on, and then it was given to her in a will.
And the note attached to the book, or the clue attached with the book, was, hey, he said it was, the title of this book was an anagram.
Said the name is an anagram.
Right. Well, that's the title.
But no. Oh. She said she assumed it was the name of the book, but it wasn't the name of the book. It was the guy's name inside in the old antique picture.
Right.
The name is an anagram. So she pours out the Scrabble tiles and tries to make the title of the book into something, and couldn't manage it. And then she went through, and where the little page was dog-eared, folded down, that was the page with that guy.
Roman Castavets was the anagram.
I forget what his name was.
But also one of the little pieces of trivia about this movie is one of the anagrams for All of Them Witches is "A Hell Cometh Swift." So that was interesting. Again, things you learn while watching through Amazon. So the guy throws her book away, throws this All of Them Witches book away, and she goes searching for it to replace it. She's like, I gotta figure out what's this thing that Hutch was trying to clue me in on. And she calls, then she's like convinced. Now she's like, oh shit, I figured it out. This is a big conspiracy against me. And she gets strongly paranoid, and she builds the idea in her head, and she's like, I gotta go see another doctor. She goes to see her doctor, and
she goes to the phone booth, and there's a blast from the past. The phone booth. I was thinking nobody knows what a phone booth is anymore. And she puts in a dime, and she dials around. The children wouldn't know what that was.
No.
I think they probably gathered it once you're in. Well, they see her in a booth and there's a phone.
And toy phones that you give to babies are still like that. I don't know why, but...
Yeah. I just realized that the shape of a phone is not the same in Gen Z's head at all.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Wow.
But and then she thinks the guy outside is one of the guys. Yeah, but it's not. And she has to monopolize the phone and it took a long time. It was really slow moving. When I think of movies now, several movies that we thought were great back in the day. Young Frankenstein. We thought that was the most hilarious movie.
It is. It's very funny.
But it's slow.
Yes, it's
and
so
I couldn't
paced.
Believe how slow it was, because we thought it was hilarious in 1974. Well,
they're not mutually exclusive, right? It's just a strange. It's just now an outdated.
I remember saying, "You guys," to my kids, "You got to see this movie. It was so hilarious." And we started watching it, and they're like, "I can't even stick with this. It's so slow."
But I've watched that many times since. Like that's one of, like I love Mel Brooks generally. And by the way, his son Max Brooks is a great horror writer. So.
But that's how this movie, I thought, maybe all movies were really slow back then, but I don't think so.
Yeah, they were.
Oh, well.
Did most you women feel pregnant before find out?
So now she's all paranoid. She goes to see a new doctor, and he's like, "Oh, okay, yeah."
No, it was the same old doctor, the first doctor, and he says, "Mrs. Woodhouse." I remember him. She goes, "Won't you see me? Won't you see me? Everything's really bad. I have a bad doctor." And he goes, "Mrs. Woodhouse." So disappointed, like that. I can't really take someone else's case. Now you came to see me the first week, and now it's like 8 months later. You can't.
So she goes to see him, and then he totally sells her out. And that
because she sounds so paranoid. Yeah. She sounds so wacky.
That scene where it just shows him. As she's walking by him, just the look that he gives her of just like, there's some
nutty woman.
Yeah, there's something there about just that is like
patronizing. You poor nutty woman.
Yeah, of just being not in control of your own fate.
Let all these other men take care of you.
Exactly. I'm just like, oh, another hysterical woman.
Yeah, right.
This is another man's problem. I'll let him handle it.
Yeah, is that... I can't work out if that's like the way things were back then, and we're looking at an honest interpretation of that.
I think it was often the way things were.
Yeah.
Often.
But also,
not always.
it seems self-aware.
Yeah.
It seems like it's also like this is wrong. It's wrong
Sure,
to do
women
this to
knew
women.
people that men would do that to them,
Yeah.
but you had to, everybody just had to put up with it.
Yeah,
and
but this is Roman Polanski making this movie, so he must have seen the injustice and the
maybe it was
weirdness
written in
of
this. You said this was a book.
Yeah.
Maybe
it
it
was a
was
book
in the
first.
book that way.
the book was written by a woman.
I mean, it's not. I mean, this stuff happens today too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, especially in like patriarchal organizations, I can think of lots of instances in my former church where this would happen.
Yeah.
Where it's like, don't worry, the men will take care of it.
Really?
And the women are like, why are we not like getting a say in this very important decision?
And they're like, drink your tannis root.
Here, have a necklace.
So let's.
Did anybody look up tannis root?
No.
I never had time to look up tannis root to see if it's a real thing.
I'm sure it is, because it's mentioned in all of them witches, and media can't lie. I'm gonna kind of expedite this. We're going to move forward a little quicker. The doctor rats her out to her old doctor. She's taken away in a taxi. She's brought back home. She's kept under lock and key. She is being fed medicine that she's very cleverly pocketing and not taking, so that she can kind of maintain some level of awareness. And then she gives birth, and it's kind of a weird, horrible birth that she's not exactly present for, and a lot of other people kind of take control of.
Well, yeah,
they sedate her.
Saperstein gives her a sedative.
And finally she gives birth, and then she's like, where's my baby? A couple days later, she's being watched over by.
And the first one
these
says,
kind of,
"Oh, it's fine, it's a boy."
Sure, these she's being watched by these like matronly kind of women that are just reading Reader's Digest and like. And
I love that one. Woman where it's the one with the glasses that's the Midwestern accent.
Yeah.
And you just tell her like she's just the F up of the witch's coven.
Right.
Like, gosh dang it, you moron.
Betsy, come on.
Like, she's like not quick on her feet at all.
Right.
Like, what are you doing with my breast milk? We're throwing it away. Yeah, that's the ticket.
But don't put your spoon in there. That could
it's bad.
Be messy.
Dirty.
So they tell her that her baby died, and it was all her fault. It was because you were obstinate, you dumb bitch. But she keeps hearing it like through the wall.
Yeah.
Like we've got this well-established thing going on of, oh, you can hear easily through the apartment into the other apartment, and so she organizes her escape. She gets into the closet from the start of the movie, and she finds the door, and she walks into the room, and there is this huge gathering.
The pictures are back up on the
all
wall.
the pictures are back up on the wall, and they're all
Weirdo.
very strange.
Burning cathedrals and like Satan dragging away people.
I really like what you did here, like what you did here with the fire in the church, and it's good.
You guys really like goats.
Yeah. Boy,
In New York, in the middle of New York City.
Yeah.
Right.
Girlfriend ain't had periods since she got pre-gat.
So, and she walks into this room where there's this big assembly of people, and they're all just so smitten. And I think so it's not necessarily a very, what would you say? I've just completely lost the word.
Bassinet? Are you talking about?
No, the array of people, there's people of different origins.
Oh,
so
right.
there's a man from Japan there.
Taking pictures. That was the.
What would you call this? It's a highly diverse
It's a
crowd.
rainbow coalition.
Well, highly diverse for 1968.
Right.
Which
means one Japanese person.
There's a Japanese guy there. And then there's also an Italian-looking man.
There were only a dozen people.
Yeah, but sure.
I mean, yeah.
But anyway, so...
And then there's this big bassinet that's designed by Tim Burton.
Yeah, it's this big black bassinet with a crucifix that's upside down, directly, like, as the
what's it called?
The
mobile.
Mobile.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a upside down crucifix mobile.
Black.
And it's like, look, the baby can't see it when it's upside down. You got to put it like this, because otherwise it just looks.
Yeah.
Anyway, so and she's just completely shocked, and she's like, "What are you people doing?" And
you're never shown the baby, which is the best choice, because I think originally the studio wanted them to show like a monster baby,
right?
You know, or like the baby's eyes,
and they did show the eyes. They did like a quick fade in, fade out.
Not of the baby though.
No, that was when she got raped
by the devil.
It was at the end as well.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm 100% certain of this.
Go back and look.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, there's allusions to demonic.
Oh no, she was seeing a vision of the demon, not the baby.
Oh, she was remembering.
She was remembering.
Yeah,
being
that's
raped by the demon.
Okay, I took that out of context.
Yeah, so they don't. I think the studio wanted them to like show like a baby with crazy hoof hands and stuff, and Roman Polanski's like, no, it'll be better if you just let them think in their head, which it always is the case.
And what did they want with this baby? Were they going to use it in these?
Well, was the
rituals? Were they going to kill this baby?
This was the Christ child of Satan.
Okay.
Yeah.
They mentioned that that this is him coming to Earth to rape and pillage. You've given birth to Satan. And she's like, oh no! And it's like the sinking feeling you get in this, and the hopelessness. Yeah, and you know what? She takes it rather well.
It's such a ridiculous ending to where.
Yeah.
The slow burn and like the gaslighting of the whole movie leads up to it, and it's the reveal, and it is really satisfying. Of a really pretty kooky ending if you're trying to just describe it. Of and then there's this coven of old people that are yelling "Hail Satan." Right. Like, well, that sounds dumb. Yeah. It's like, no, it's awesome in this movie.
It's crazy, and she takes it pretty well. You know, She's not destroyed. I mean, she is in shock over it,
right.
which tends to look kind of.
But maybe so much wacky stuff happened to her all these months that she finally just.
Well, it's probably a relief to have it confirmed. Of like, finally, like I know every one of my fears is
all the stuff I
valid.
Thought was true.
Yeah, this is the story of my life.
And then they eventually, put the seed in her mind that like, it's still your baby. And then the lady in the glasses, this is the other part.
Yeah, she's jealous.
Gertrude over there.
She's rocking the baby. It's like, it's like, what am I doing wrong? I'm just rocking the baby.
Yeah. So, and the ultimate end is she loves her baby. Right. And she goes and she's like, she can't help herself because that's how a mom is. It's like, oh man, this is brutal. So, man, let's go on to final recommendations. This is one of the easiest recommendations I've ever made. Everyone except, or maybe especially those who are pregnant or are trying to become pregnant should see this movie. That's what I would say. What about you, Bryce?
Yeah, I think if you hate slow old movies, like, you might not enjoy this, but this is one of the best horror movies ever made. Well, like, you should definitely see it.
Even though it's slow, everything adds to it.
Yes. It's all integral. It's all important. Here's
a question. Do you think Bugsy would call this movie pretentious?
I mean, he can't help himself. Yes. I think he would.
I guess he would.
Yeah, I think so. But he proved me wrong, Bugsy. We have a listener who is also a rapper, but he tends to like really gratuitous movies. And everything else, anything that is
subtle,
mildly subtle, he's like, this is pretentious. And you'll hear his song at the end of the podcast. That's our outro music. He's made a song about us.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So, Mom, what's your final recommendation for our listeners about Rosemary's Baby?
Well, for a horror movie, it's probably the least horrible that you could watch. It hasn't got insides, and it hasn't got lots of blood, and you can watch it, without being totally grossed out. I mean, you're grossed out morally, but not grossed out by what's on the screen.
Is that what really gets you about? That's, I think, how a lot of people think of horror movies, as gore.
All that Walking Dead stuff.
Yeah,
I'm
like
not
gore
interested in looking at and people being totally physically. Well, they were pretty cruel to her, but it wasn't slashery.
No,
I don't.
Could you get a little closer to that mic? So what about thrillers? Are you okay with stuff that's kind of more heady like this? This is a little bit more.
It depends. I don't know. It depends. I go on a case by case,
like
a movie by movie case.
Like Alfred Hitchcock. A lot of the time.
we like Alfred Hitchcock.
There you go.
We watch lots.
So what about and I think you like a lot of M. Night Shyamalan movies.
Yeah,
as well,
I like
right?
those. Those were it gives you something to think about and wonder how it's going to turn out and where the twist is going to be.
Yeah.
I just don't like stuff that's disgusting.
Well, that's understandable. To be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of the gore either. So yeah, I think we can kind of
like
get on board with that.
certain space movies that are kind of thrillery. I like those.
Do you like Alien?
No,
that's too much.
And Prometheus. Oh my gosh! I can't watch Prometheus.
Oh, that's one of my favorites.
I've seen it. I've seen most all of it bit by bit, but I have to run away.
Why? What's the thing about it?
Scary.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, with that, let's get into horror movie talk. This is a little bit where we take calls from our voicemail line. If you would like to call into the show and potentially get on the show, you can call 682-253-4468. And maybe we'll play your question or comment. I did ask for questions and comments for my mom. I don't know if anybody actually followed through on that, but man, when I put out the call, a lot of people called in, which I'm thankful for. So I do want to get to all of these, but I don't know if I'll have time. So I apologize if you called in and I don't play your thing. Here we go.
Hello, my name is Aaron, and I'm calling from Santa Fe, Georgia, and I was just wondering, this is a question for David's mom, and I was wondering who her favorite child was. I love you guys' show. I love
All
what
right.
you do. Okay, bye. This is Brock.
So that was either Brock or Aaron from Santa Fe, Georgia. And they were asking who your favorite child was.
David, stop it.
She said David.
Yeah, there you go.
David was the first one out of her mouth.
Okay. Well,
in your face, Garrett.
Long-standing. See,
David can edit that out now to where she just says David.
Yeah, there it is. So, next caller.
Are they all you?
Hey, this is Natalie. I'm calling from New Mexico. So I saw your demand for voicemails on Facebook. so I thought I'd step up to the plate. So Halloween, John Carpenter's Halloween, best movie ever. I'm sure we're all in agreement on that. Other than that, your podcast is fantastic. The burps are great. They're necessary. They're punctuation. So, obviously, keep them coming.
So that's Natalie, and she likes our burps. She likes that we burp into the mics. There's been some controversy over that. How do you feel about people burping into your ears, Mom?
I don't prefer it, but to each his own.
Well, that's fair. Did you ever listen to Howard Stern at all?
I've heard Howard Stern a little bit.
Yeah. Did you appreciate any of his stuff at all, or no?
Not so much.
Did you like Fart Man?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You never saw Fart Man? Where he comes down from like the ceiling on wires, and he's got this suit on with his butt cheeks cut out, and then he just farts into a mic a bunch? No? Okay.
No.
Wow, it's okay. It's okay to laugh and have fun. Like, this is just fun.
That sounds stupid.
Well, yeah, it's stupid, but
well, I'm past that.
You're past farting being funny?
Yeah.
It's always funny.
I know. Everyone around me laughs when it happens. Your children.
Okay. Well, here's our next caller.
Even the baby.
Hey, this is Scott Schmidt from Louisiana. I just want to say that I love your guys' podcast. You guys make my day. I listen to you guys when cleaning my house and when I'm on my way to and from work. I had a question. Do you guys have any tattoos? Because I don't know if you guys have ever said that. And yeah. All right. Bye, guys.
Bryce, do you have any tattoos? Oh, thanks for your call, Scott.
No, I do not.
No.
David's got a full double sleeve.
I have a big dragon.
Phoenix on his back and a dragon on the front.
Big red dragon tattoo on my back.
Yeah. No, I think we both don't have any tattoos.
No, I don't. I would, to be honest with you, I'd really like one. And the only one that makes any sense is like a full sleeve blackout tattoo, like completely black. One arm.
Don't do that to your body.
No?
No. And all that ink in you, who knows what that, it's icky.
Yeah. Do you have any tattoos?
No.
Not a one.
No.
Do you ever think about like getting a clown mask tattooed on your face?
Oh, every day, David.
There's this one guy.
It doesn't leave my mind.
There's this one guy on one of the podcasts that I listen to who they focus on, and he's gotten a clown makeup tattooed permanently onto his face, and he just gets on there and he's real serious and is like, "You guys don't get tattoos on your face. It ruins your life."
Because he's getting it removed now. Yeah. And he's like, I've just gone through my 16th session, and it's like just still completely visible.
Yeah. So no tattoos. I just can't find. It would have to be either hilarious or meaningful. To be honest, it would be best if it was funny, so that anytime anybody saw it, they laughed. But because I really like that sentiment that Steve-O says, where it's like, I just want something that makes people laugh.
I just like to see him stab you with needles a whole lot of times.
Jeez.
Because you're just so you're always so about needles.
No, I don't. Needles don't bother me. I mean, I get acupuncture done like a lot.
True.
But true. I'd be interested to see how I handled the tattoo.
There's a lot of tattooed people that are fans, though.
Oh yeah,
I know. What's her name?
Amchara. And, well, she just recently changed it as like dead girl or something like that.
Yeah,
I can't remember what she changed her name to.
It's like Bree something. Anyways, she's on TikTok too.
I'm gonna.
Anyways, I appreciate it, but I am not interested in getting any myself.
You're not interested in it at all?
Not at all.
Right now, her name is underscore Spooky Tooth or Casper. Caspar? Let's see here.
I think I'm thinking about someone different, but doesn't matter.
She's also part of the Vamchara tattoo thing, and she's been really nice to us and given us a bunch of shout outs on her Instagram. So here is our next message.
Hey guys, this is Alan from Atlanta, Georgia. So I gotta say, I've been listening to y'all for a while, and I've really enjoyed y'all. Y'all have been great and just so fun to listen to. I'm so glad I found y'all. And I do think it's funny that we live in a universe where y'all review Rats and y'all review, what's another one? Thanksgiving, and some movies I'm just like, why haven't y'all gotten to The Thing yet? The Thing, the original, The Thing, Kurt Russell. I mean, come on. Another question I wanted to ask you guys as far as The Thing goes. I mean, I know that Blumhouse is going to be remaking it here soon. Do y'all think that's a good thing? Do you think that practical effects are going to be a key element in that film? Do y'all think that there's going to be like a theme around that movie that most horror movies have been doing? Like, you know, The Invisible Man kind of had a theme of like gaslighting. Do you think that's going to be as prominent in The Thing remake? Do y'all, and of course, do y'all think that practical effects are going to be a big thing? Because, you know, I feel like we're about to have kind of like a practical effects renaissance because of, you know, The Dark Crystal Age of Resistance that just recently came out was really great, really good effects. But just want to know some of y'all's thoughts on The Thing remake, and if
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm kind of like, so have you seen The Thing, Mom? With Kurt Russell, John Carpenter, 1982?
I tried to, but I didn't get interested in it, and I had to get busy.
Really?
It's something else to do.
It's spectacular, but it's also really goopy, like really gory. But it's as far
well,
like,
there was that a long ago, like in the 50s or
right.
something.
This is part of my kind of duality of opinion on The Thing, which is The Thing 1982 is a remake. Mm-hmm. Of The Thing from the 50s. Uh-huh. So, and it's a much better remake. Mm-hmm. It's a much better movie. So I guess, like, if they do it well, great. Yeah. If they don't, then why did you touch it? Like, you better be able to put a new or interesting spin on it that is able to stand on its own legs. Otherwise, why did you even bother? It was fine the way it was. So that's my opinion on it. And as far as practical effects go, whether or not they use them, I hope they do. I don't have a lot of confidence.
There's a weird thing about practical effects is that they definitely look worse. Like, it looks more fake, but it's also more disturbing.
That's part of it. Yeah.
It's like, it's fake, but is in reality. So it feels very weird.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
As opposed to CG that can be made look really real.
What's practical effects?
Oh, yeah. So it's like puppetry and animatronics.
Oh, like old style.
Like things that are real, that are made to move around.
The way they used to have to do it.
Right. Things that aren't computer generated.
Godzilla from the 50s as a guy in a big suit.
Right. Yeah. Things that aren't computer. Now, there's so much. And computer generated effects, there's just something that makes me detach from the movie where I'm like, well, that's not real at all. Like, and don't get me wrong, there's something about like the practical effects that you go, well, that's not real. But there's also something kind of off about the way it moves. You know, if it's mechanical or something like that, kind of like your mind kind of rejects it a little bit. Anyway,
I don't have a big opinion about all that.
We have lots of opinions on it. Okay, so next caller. Thank you for calling in. I think that was Alan. Yeah, thanks for calling in, Alan.
Hey guys, it's Elizabeth. So we just had our Netflix party last week, and I'm just thinking to myself, who the heck is picking these movies? Now, all of the choices, I've never seen any of them. I just chose the most popular one because I figured, you know, everybody is going to pick the best one out of the bunch. And that movie was so terrible. First of all, the main character never said the name of the title in the movie. Like, come on. That's like a given. Second of all, there are so many, like, good movies on Netflix that were not in that list. Like, House at the End of the Street with Jennifer Lawrence, Red Dragon, there's Sinister, The Old Poltergeist, As Above, So Below. Like, I just named Prom Night. I totally forgot that was on there. That's kind of a slasher. But so many good choices. All of the choices are terrible. Like, come on. There's no way we can keep watching these shitty-ass movies. I'm sorry. They are terrible. Killer Clowns from Outer Space, I guess, wasn't that bad. But I don't know how that lost to Silence of the Lambs. Like, what the fudge? What are people choosing? I don't get it. Better movie. Sorry, there's my rant, but that was a pretty waste of...
So,
good point, Elizabeth.
First of all, I chose the movies on the last poll, and it was themed for houses or something in a house. And the house at the end of the street was on that list with Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, I could have chosen it, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
What are you? You kind of sounds like you're slacking around, and sounds like you chose the movie. I mean, that was a rough movie to watch. We have this thing where we do a Netflix party on the second. Yeah, that's a good point. We do a Netflix party on the second Saturday of every month. So if you want to be a part of that, join our Facebook group, Horror Movie Talk Facebook group, and it should be scheduled on there already, and you're free to attend if you please. Anyway, so a lot of the movies we've been watching on there have not been very good.
Yeah, I mean,
but it's kind of better that way, in my opinion.
I don't know. Is it though?
I'm just a happy camper.
I think one of these
rocking and a rolling.
I think one of these times I might just pick it unilaterally on like a good movie. I think what it is people think that they're going to have a funner time watching a bad movie and making fun of it, which is valid. But, also it's nice every once in a while to watch an actual good movie.
Yeah. That's
everyone. I'm learning that everyone has opinions about watching a movie together. What type of movie is good? Because I've picked a list for us and for my work. Did a Netflix party recently, and like someone approached me at work, and they're like, "Who picked these movies?" Like, no one's gonna want to watch good movies.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
How does it make you feel to know that that we have all these listeners who will call into the show? Like, I mean, this is evidence that we have
impressive
people who. Okay.
It's impressive. I am impressed.
Are you?
Yep.
Oh man, that feels good. my dad's still like, yeah, you still doing that pod cart thing? What are you doing? What do you like? You watch movies?
You keep it on your computer?
You do that? Yeah. Have you listened to one, Dad? We've done 124 episodes. No, I still got to do that. I just gotta. And he just like he just got this 1,000-yard stare every time I ask him if he's looked at it. He's like, still gotta crack into that. I was like, okay, thanks, Dad. So here's our next caller. It's our boy Jason.
Hey, it's your boy Jason.
See?
One thing I kind of wanted to do with these voicemails now is
okay, get to it.
Question, and right now I'm sitting in Sonic's drive-thru. And I just thought of this right now, and it's kind of stupid, but oh well.
He's asking a question based on the theme from one of our Netflix parties, which is Would You Rather. He's asking us a Would You Rather question.
Okay, so both of you, would you rather spend 3 nights in the Amityville Horror House or the original farmhouse from the Conjuring movie?
There you go. So, would you rather spend 3 nights, I don't know why 3, in Amityville house or in the Conjuring house? Have you seen the Amityville Horror, Mom?
Part of it.
Yeah.
But not all of it.
Boy, that is an icky feeling movie.
It wasn't. There's a real house.
Oh, yeah, there's a real house. Yeah.
No, and I never saw the other one because it just...
Right.
So the farmhouse is...
No, I wouldn't.
Is it just a house or is... Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It honestly doesn't matter because nothing's going to happen.
Ooh. I gotta say,
which has the better bathrooms?
Yeah,
I know who has the more comfortable beds.
Yeah,
like what's the layout?
I'll tell you this: the Conjuring.
Do they have cable?
The Conjuring house is really remote, which if you're going to stay in a haunted house, not ideal. And the Amityville house is actually in some little suburb in New Jersey. So I think I'd choose that because you can run out and find someone and be like, I was just in the Amityville house. And they'll be like, shut up. That house ruined our whole life. So I think that's my answer.
Yeah.
So let's see here. Thanks for calling, Jason. Jason's a patron been so for a long time. Thank you for supporting the show. Here is our next call.
Hello. I found you guys through Jury Rig Garage's YouTube videos on the suspension Tundra build.
Oh, yeah. So a YouTube channel called Jury Rig Garage. You guys can head over there. They helped me redo the suspension in my Tundra. And so they made a series of videos about it. And apparently she found us through being on that channel over there. So here we go.
Anyways, David looks a lot like that Kitten Mittens guy from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Are you perhaps related to Charlie Day? And then second, do you have a good recommendation for a Christmas horror movie? All right. Thank you. Have a good day.
You know, I never even thought about that. His name is Charlie Day.
His name's Charlie Day. Actually, Charlotte, I came down strong on naming her Charlotte because I really enjoy Charlie Day's stuff. Mm-hmm. And people have told me that same thing in the past. Specifically the way I talk, people go, you talk just like Charlie Day.
Yeah.
I was like, no relation, but...
Are you sure that there's no relation, though?
Mom, are we related to people from Philadelphia?
No.
No. Oh, heavens.
I mean, probably... You probably wouldn't be back that many generations, though.
Anyway, Day is my married name, so...
Who knows,
yeah.
Right? And those people, those Days, they're just a bunch of scoundrels, scallywags. Yeah, and then as far as a recommendation for a Christmas horror movie, oh, man.
I mean, the only one that I love is Silent Night, Deadly Night.
It's the best.
Right.
It's the best. You can't do better than Silent Night, Deadly Night for a wide variety of reasons. Yeah. But I'd say a close second is Gremlins.
Gremlins, I was thinking of that.
Gremlins.
Yeah.
Krampus is really good.
Oh, Krampus is fun. The 2015 one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah,
too.
I would. But I mean, definitely, you got to start out with Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Yeah, yeah. Here we got another question.
If you could turn into any animal or mythical animal, what would it be?
Mom?
Oh.
Here, you want me to play it again?
No. Just go ahead and I'll think.
Okay.
Any animal or mythical animal?
I got one.
Okay.
I'd be Falcor.
Shut up.
Because then I could give my kids a ride on my back. It'd be great. And then I could have, just as long as my daughter would go, yeah!
From the Never-Ending Story.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I think a bunny.
A bunny?
Yeah, I like Watership Down.
You just want to get eaten by cats, huh?
Well, they do it a lot. I'm just saying. Mom, what about you?
I guess a bird.
A bird?
They can fly.
Oh, that's a better choice. I'd be a bird.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, strange caller. Boy, I think we can make it through all of these if we just set our head to the grindstone.
Mm-hmm. Hey, what's up, bitches? It's your boy Josh up here in Canada. Just wanted to say you guys have been crushing it so far. Things seem to be going well, and I heard that David's mom is going to be on the show tonight, so I had a question for you. And that's, how long was, maybe this is too personal, but how long was your labor with David? Because I know that man can stretch out a sentence and make it just painfully long. So I'm wondering if he put you through the same kind of torture and torment in your labor. So anyways, hope you guys are crushing it, having a good time down there. And peace from Canada. Rock on.
Yeah, how was that?
12 hours.
Oh,
wow. Oof.
Was it, but you loved it. It was fun. Every minute of it was great.
Well, I'm not a fan of, I'm just not fond of childbirth. So that's why I only had 2 kids.
It's not your favorite pastime?
No.
It's weird. You'll talk to some women and they're like, I love nothing more than being pregnant. I love it. It's the best. And
well,
then,
the pregnant part was one thing, but that last day is something else. And so anyway,
let me
12
tell you,
hours.
I had a vasectomy and that wasn't fun either.
Yeah, it's not really comparable.
Okay, well, what about all the physical torture that men go throughout their life that women just get to forego? I got to mow a lawn once a week. How many lawns have you mown, Mom?
A few.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing over a longer period of time.
There's a difference between
You have
like,
my sympathy.
all right, you have a little, outpatient procedure where they do two little snips.
Okay, you go do it. You
Or you could have a procedure where you have two holes in your body that are combined because it's been ripped in half.
That's called an episiotomy for those of you who don't know. So who's was better to have as a baby, Garrett or me?
You were both wonderful babies.
No. I mean the pregnancy or the actual birth.
They were just different. Childbirth is just not the best thing to be doing to me. I guess other people might. But Garrett's was only like 5 hours.
So objectively better.
Well, I guess. No, I don't know.
Worse. Okay,
Just,
there you have it.
You get a baby at the end, so you're real happy. You have a baby, you get the baby at the end, so you're real happy.
Unless it's the devil.
Right. Unless it's Rosemary's baby.
So after 12 hours, she's like, what's wrong with his eyes?
Okay, here's Josh again.
What's up, Whooores? Hey, boys, it's Josh from Canada here calling again. So I was just thinking, couple pods back, you guys asked who would be, like the male Janelle Monáe from Antebellum. You guys were talking about that. So from like...
So Janelle Monáe from Antebellum is... Are you familiar with Janelle Monáe? She's gorgeous. You look like we've taken it out of you. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm ready to...
Ready to be done? Mm-hmm. Oh. Is your blood sugar getting low? Mine gets kind of low right about, in an hour or two. I'll be hurting. So he's talking about who would be the male version of the Janelle.
A dude's perspective. I'm going to say Idris Elba. I don't know how the fuck you pronounce it. Anyway, that dude, from Lucifer and other shit. Anyway,
So he says Idris Elba. Who's like the most handsome or beautiful man you can think of?
Like strikingly beautiful.
Yes, someone who's just like, oh my God.
Oh, I can't even remember.
A little closer to the mic there.
I can't remember. I can't think right now.
Really? You don't have anybody that comes to mind when you think of like pretty men?
Well, we watch a lot of old movies.
Mm-hmm.
And Cary Grant was really handsome. And so I guess, and also that George Clooney is handsome that way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That Cary Grant way.
Was Cary Grant gay?
No.
No, you're thinking Rock Hudson.
Rock Hudson. Okay. All right. Well, there you go.
3 more.
Okay, so this one is Magnus. This is Magnus from Sweden calling into the show.
He's the
reason.
He's the reason why we watched Rats. So blame him.
He's the reason why we watch bad movies.
Hello, guys. It's me, Magnus, your boy from Sweden. Just calling to, I don't know, you watch Rats, so I don't really have a purpose anymore.
Is this film club?
What kind of movies do you like? Oh, I guess horror movies. What? What's your favorite Christmas horror movie? Do you have any? And for David's mom, hi. Bye.
Believe it or not, that man has a podcast. Yeah, he has a podcast called Filmklubben. All he could come up with was, do you have a favorite Christmas?
I'm feeling for Magnus now.
Yeah.
Well, tell Magnus hi for me.
Okay, we will.
You
just did.
It. Yeah.
Hi, Magnus.
Hi, Magnus.
He'll hear it.
Yeah, we mentioned it. Silent Night, Deadly Night is the best. It is the best.
Yeah.
But then also Gremlins. Do not like Black Christmas at all. That was like 1974. Here, 2 more. Here we go.
Hi, guys. It's me again. My last message wasn't that good. So I Googled some questions.
It's Magnus.
I could ask you because, so what do we got here? If you made a movie, what would it be about? Do you have any ideas for a movie, a horror movie? And I think I got a good question here somewhere. What's the most useless talent you have? That's all I have for this message. I'm sorry. This has been a disappointment. Well, bye.
Let's see here. Do you have any ideas for a horror movie?
I had an idea for like a horror movie where it's like a dark and gritty like film noir of the world's greatest clown detective. And he's investigating the murder of a clown at a clown convention.
Uh-huh.
And then the question is like, that's the tagline. And then the question is he a clown that it's a detective or detective that investigates clown murders? And you have to watch the movie to find out.
That sounds like Roger Rabbit.
Right?
Well, it kind of does. Weird. Wow, Mom. That was a very astute observation that I never would have been able to pick that one out. Ever. I have a couple of ideas for stories, not really horror. So no, the answer to that one is no. Although I am consistently able to think of remarkably horrific stuff just out of the blue. So I don't know. Maybe I'd be good at it. I don't know.
You got any pointless talents?
Pointless. I don't. If I do, I can't think of any.
I think mine is if I hear the voice of a lead singer in one song and the lead singer as identified, I've got like a really, really good success rate at identifying any other song with that singer in it.
Actually, I am really good at picking out actors who were in other stuff. I'll be like, oh, that guy is from this movie. That guy or this gal was in this movie. Like I can do, and I'm not able to recall their names, but I can definitely, I see their face and I go, oh, that they were in, and I can remember a lot of like firsts, like George Clooney's first.
Which was?
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes 2.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like...
Yeah, but he was on television before that.
He may have been.
What year was that?
86?
Yeah, he was... No, he was on that show with those girls.
He's on ER.
The Days of Our Lives?
No, it was that show with those girls at the boarding school in New York. Facts of Life.
Facts of Life. The Facts of Life. You take about there. You have the Facts of Life. So anyway, yeah. Mom, do you have any pointless talents?
I'm pretty good at Jeopardy.
You are remarkably good at Jeopardy. Man, rip Alex Trebek. How did that hit you?
Aw.
Yeah.
Well, I hope they don't just take the whole show away because I like answering the questions.
I don't think they will take the whole show away. I think they have somebody lined up for...
Yeah, they're looking for hosts now.
Yeah.
I think like the one that keeps getting mentioned is Ken Jennings, which I think would be great.
Yeah, that's an obvious choice. He's pretty charismatic as well. Not that you necessarily need to be terribly charismatic for that, but it does help. Okay, last call. Ugh.
I just want you boys to know how much I love you.
All right. Thank you for calling into the show.
And with that,
thank you so much to my mom for being here. You look like you've been through the ringer.
Well, thank you for having me.
No,
thank you so much.
We really do appreciate you sticking it out and being on the show. And I hope you will return because I love you with all my heart.
Oh.
And so everybody who's listening, thank you very much for listening. Make sure to share this podcast with a friend. Do it for my mom. And you know, if you'd like to give us a rating, 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, that would help us out quite a bit. If you'd like to support the show, there's a wide variety of ways to do so. You know all of them. You can go to our website, horrormovietalk.com, and click on either of the two green links at the top of the website. One is become a patron. The other is buy stuff on Amazon, and a little bit of your purchase will go to us. Special thanks to my mom for being such a good sport and for not taking any of this too seriously or being too disappointed in what has my son become.
You raised a good son. He's an exceptional person.
Aww.
And I love having him as my best friend.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So if you guys want to call into the show with any more deplorable, horrible stuff, do so at 682-253-4468. Thank you so much, and you guys have a great week. We love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Looking for a podcast full of burps and gas, perverted cast, skinny and fat? Look no further. Horror Movie Talk is accidentally funny, begs to donate money, fake sponsors for dummies, and so much more. New episodes every hump day. They'll pickle your dickle for foreplay. Patreon members have it your way. Vote for a movie every month for the review. Choppa choppa, don't just stare at it, eat it like a taco. Put your tongue through the phone, hoodie, Picasso. Look at them hot kids, swear not a pedo. Got me too'd with Cosby eating jello. Pudding Pops done gave Bryce flatulence. Train addict Dave doesn't give a shit. 1 through 10, is it horrible or excellent? Oil me up, daddy, is dinner rubs. Kiss Bryce Hansen. Look at them hot kids, Chris Henson. Masturbate with a crucifix, exorcist. Face huggers, chest bursters, alien. Linda Blair peed on Sigourney Weaver. I know it's true cause it came from social media. Patrick Bateman can't understand you. Stab you to death for rotten apple reviews. Opinionated podcaster with a doctorate. Spookology, doctor of philosophy. Bad gastritis, need colostomy. Turn Patreons into human centipedes. David Doobie Day, scare him, no expert. And Global fucks hard, professional sexpert. Afterpods, taglines, and porno flicks. American Psycho, them guys pretty sick. Choppa choppa, don't just stare at it, eat it like a taco. Put your tongue through the phone, hoodie, Picasso. Look at them hot kids, swear not a pedo. Got me too'd with Cosby eating jello. Pudding Pops done gave Bryce flatulence. Train addict Dave doesn't give a shit. 1 through 10, is it horrible or excellent? Oil me up, daddy, is dinner rubs. Nothing good happens in the woods. Always get more than you bargain for. Got a pickle to dickle, machines tickle bitties. Killer on the phone, ain't no Sharon Stone. Vancouver, Portland, Oregon, and organs. Corona, COVID, curse, Lorona. Green River Killer, because reasons. Hallway of poop monster kids screaming. Ain't your ordinary dingleberry itinerary. 30-day shutter and jump scares, they fucking scary. Time for the spoilers with jokes and tropes. Use their white socks to catch their loads. Just show them one titty, pretty. Paganism you should worship, they Teflon dicks. Pacific Northwest, let them see one breast. Shifty ass, stay spooky, poor man's digress. Bugsy, HMT, Horror Movie Talk. Hold on, they don't like Halloween. Fuck them.
Actually, let's get levels on Mom real quick. Let's see if she's... Say something, Mom. Just any old thing. Just blah, 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 blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Just keep doing it.
Oh, David. I really don't like that talking into these things.
There we go.
That's good.
Perfect.
Okay.
Oh, David. I really don't enjoy this. This is going to be a great episode.
Okay. Now I know why you invited you.
It's so charming like you're a peach. It's gonna be yeah. This is gonna be.
Go on social media and
No one.
But see,
no one would ever do that.
Have Facebook or anything, so I'll never know.
Not only that, but no, they would not. Bryce, is that a reasonable at all? Like as a.
You should hear this lady they got on.
Is that a reasonable fear at all?
No.
That is not a.
If anything, they're gonna mock David relentlessly.
Yes, I get shit on heavily.
They will only have sympathy for you.
Because I didn't raise you to talk that way.
All right. This is going to be really good. I keep that up.
Do you talk that way in your house, Bryce? With all those children around?
Okay, I got to do an ad. Let's can we get rid of all this?
This is staying in.
Well, her mic isn't even on.